The path of the unknown, finding wisdom in life's uncertainty. Life has a peculiar way of leading us down paths that we often can't understand. There are moments when we feel like we're facing a crisis, losing something important, or even watching everything around us fall apart. But what if all this pain and chaos had a hidden purpose? What if the struggles, losses, and mistakes we face were part of a bigger plan that we just can't see yet? There's a powerful concept found in many philosophical and spiritual traditions, such as Buddhism, that teaches us something crucial. Nothing in the universe happens by chance. Every experience we live through, no matter how difficult, teaches us something valuable, shapes us, and brings us closer to a deeper truth. In this video, we'll explore how we can learn to trust life, accept what it brings us, and transform obstacles into real opportunities for growth. If you've ever wondered, why is this happening to me? Stick with us until the end. The answer you find may change the way you see the world and your life forever. The hidden wisdom of suffering. Suffering is one of the most universal human experiences. We all go through pain, loss, and failure. It doesn't matter who we are or where we come from. These moments are part of the human journey. What truly sets us apart, however, isn't the challenges we face, but how we choose to deal with them. In Buddhism, suffering isn't viewed as a punishment from a higher power or some cruel twist of fate. Instead, it's seen as a disguised teacher, an opportunity to learn, grow, and get closer to who we really are. When we face pain, our first reaction is often to resist it. We want the problem to disappear, for things to go back to the way they were, and for the discomfort to end. But what if suffering isn't here to punish us? What if it's here to transform us? Many of life's greatest lessons only emerge through hardship. Just like fire purifies gold, difficulties can purify us, removing what no longer serves us and revealing our true essence. The Buddha taught that suffering is inevitable, but unnecessary suffering is a choice. This means that how we respond to suffering determines how much it will affect us. If we cling to the pain, if we resist it, we prolong its impact. But if we learn to observe it without fear or judgment, we begin to see that within every painful experience, there is a seed of wisdom waiting to be discovered. There's a classic Buddhist story that illustrates this lesson perfectly. A disciple once complained to his master about how difficult his life was. He felt that everything was against him, that nothing ever worked out. The master listened and then asked him to bring a handful of salt. He told the disciple to drop the salt into a glass of water and drink it. The disciple did so and grimaced, saying that the water was too bitter. The master then took him to a lake and told him to throw the same handful of salt into the water. Afterward, he asked the disciple to drink from the lake. This time the water tasted pure, and the disciple smiled in surprise. The master then said, "Life is like the salt. The salt doesn't change. What changes is the container you place it in. If you want the bitterness of suffering to lessen, expand your perspective." This story carries a profound truth. When we focus solely on our pain, it fills every part of us. But when we widen our view, when we understand that each experience is part of something much bigger, pain no longer consumes us. We begin to see suffering as a lesson rather than a punishment. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can start asking, "What is this experience trying to teach me?" Often the hardest times in life lead us to our greatest breakthroughs. What once seemed like a tragedy can later reveal itself as a hidden blessing. Losing a job might push us to discover a new, more meaningful career. The end of a relationship might teach us the importance of self-love. A personal crisis might open our eyes to a new way of living. Buddhism invites us to see suffering not as something to be avoided at all costs, but as an opportunity for growth. It's not about seeking pain, but about understanding that when it comes, it isn't here to destroy us. It's here to teach us something valuable, something we need to learn in order to move forward. Every difficult situation forces us to develop new skills: patience, resilience, compassion. Suffering reveals the parts of ourselves that still need healing and gives us the chance to transform. The next time you face a challenge, instead of resisting it, stop and ask yourself, "What can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to grow? What is this pain revealing about me?" Suffering is part of life, but it doesn't have to define us. When we accept its lessons, we stop seeing it as an enemy and start using it as a tool for evolution. Every difficulty, no matter how painful, is just another step on the path to our personal transformation. The power of chaos. How struggles shape our transformation. Comfort is something we all seek. It's that state where everything seems to be under control, where things are running smoothly and we don't feel threatened by life's uncertainties. However, rarely do we stop to consider the effects of comfort on our growth. When life is easy, when everything is predictable and stable, we tend to settle. We cling to the familiar, avoid risks, and choose security over the unknown. But in Buddhism, there's a powerful teaching that states, without chaos, there can be no transformation. It's often in those moments that shake us to our core, those disruptions that throw us off balance, that we experience real change. Crises, though painful, force us to wake up, pull us out of our routine, push us beyond our limits, and make us question everything we thought we knew. Without those disruptions, we may never develop new skills, challenge old beliefs, or explore paths that we might have ignored. Think of a seed. If it stays on the surface, exposed only to sunlight and air, it will never grow into a tree. It needs to be buried in the darkness of the soil, to break apart and struggle its way upward toward the light. The process is difficult, but it's the only way life can emerge. The same is true for us. Without challenges, without moments that push us to our breaking point, we would never reach our full potential. There's a story in Buddhism that captures this perfectly. A disciple once asked his master why life had to be so hard. The master took him to a forest and pointed to a butterfly struggling to free itself from its cocoon. The disciple, moved by compassion, tried to help by tearing open the cocoon to release the butterfly. The butterfly came out, but its wings were weak and it could never fly. The master explained that the effort to break free strengthens the butterfly's wings. Without the struggle, the butterfly cannot fly. Just like the butterfly, we need resistance. We need the challenges in life to build our strength. Every tough situation forces us to adapt, to grow, to find new ways to face what lies ahead. Without those moments of chaos, we would remain the same, trapped in our comfort zones. Buddhism teaches us to see chaos not as a curse but as an opportunity. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What change is this trying to bring about in my life?" When we look back, most of our personal growth didn't happen during times of peace and stability. It happened during crises. Loss taught us the value of what we had. Failure made us more resilient. Unexpected changes pushed us down roads we might have never chosen on our own. Accepting chaos doesn't mean enjoying suffering, but understanding that it's part of the process. When we stop resisting and start flowing with life's changes, we discover a strength we didn't know we had. Life isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about learning how to use them to our advantage. Every crisis is an invitation to evolve. If we trust the process, we will see that after the chaos, a new version of ourselves will always emerge, stronger, wiser, and freer. Dharma, the invisible order of life. There are moments in life when everything seems out of control. We face obstacles that we didn't expect. Things don't go as planned, and we start wondering if we're on the wrong path. But Buddhism teaches us something different. Nothing in the universe happens by chance. There is an invisible order guiding everything, even if we can't always see it. This order is known as Dharma. Dharma is the natural law that governs all existence. It's the quiet, perfect flow behind life's events, where everything happens at exactly the right time and for a specific reason. There are no mistakes, no accidents. Even the experiences we consider negative are part of a much larger balance. If we look at nature, we see this truth all around us. The seasons change exactly when they need to. Rivers flow without resistance, and trees grow without rushing. Nature doesn't question why things are the way they are. It simply follows its course. But as human beings, we often struggle with this. We want life to fit our expectations. When it doesn't, we suffer. There's an old Buddhist story that illustrates this well. A man was caught in a storm at sea and fought against the waves with all his might, trying to stay above water. The more he fought, the more exhausted he became. Finally, he let go and allowed himself to float. In that moment, the current gently carried him back to shore. This is how Dharma works. When we stop resisting and trust life's flow, we often find our way with much less suffering. This doesn't mean we should be passive or that everything is predetermined. On the contrary, Dharma invites us to act with awareness, to make choices that align with our true nature. Many times, suffering shows up when we drift away from our true purpose. Life sends us signals, and when we ignore them, we face obstacles that force us to realign with who we truly are. Buddhism teaches that when something leaves our life, it's because it no longer serves our growth. When we are challenged, it's because we are being prepared for what's next. And when something is delayed, it's because the timing isn't right yet. Dharma reminds us that everything happens in its own time. We can't force a flower to bloom, nor can we make the sun rise earlier. The same is true for our personal journeys. We often want quick answers. We want pain to end fast, and we want change to happen now. But life has its own rhythm. Trusting that rhythm frees us from anxiety and frustration. When we understand that everything unfolds for a reason, we stop seeing difficulties as punishments and start seeing them as opportunities for growth. If something isn't working, rather than fighting it, we can ask ourselves, what is this trying to teach me? Often, we only understand Dharma with time. What seems like a loss today may later reveal itself as exactly what we needed. If we can trust life's invisible order, we'll find peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. Each of us has a unique path. We can't compare our journey to anyone else's. What's right for another person may not be right for us. Listening to our inner voice, following our intuition, and embracing change with openness helps us walk in harmony with Dharma. We are not here by accident. Every experience, every person we meet, and every decision we make is part of a greater balance. When we trust that everything happens at the perfect time, we stop living in fear and start living with purpose. The illusion of control, letting go and trusting life's flow. From the moment we're born, we are taught that we need to control our lives. We're told that if we work hard, make plans, and make the right decisions, things will unfold the way we want them to. But sooner or later, life shows us that this isn't always the case. No matter how carefully we plan, there are things that slip through our fingers. A relationship we thought was stable falls apart. A job we thought was secure disappears, or plans that seemed perfect suddenly fail. These events can make us feel frustrated, anxious, and afraid. We ask ourselves, what did I do wrong? Why did everything fall apart when I tried to do everything right? This is where Buddhism offers profound insight. Control is an illusion. Nothing in life is truly certain. We may think we can create stability, but in reality, life moves according to its own rhythm. The problem arises because our minds crave certainty. We want guarantees. We want to know exactly what's going to happen and when. But when life doesn't deliver those guarantees, we panic. There's a beautiful Buddhist story that explains this idea. A king once asked his 3 advisors why life was so unpredictable. The first advisor said it was all due to luck. The second said it was the result of past actions. But the third advisor said nothing. Instead, he led the king to a river and asked him to try to stop the water with his hands. The king tried, but no matter what he did, the water kept flowing. The advisor then said, "Life is like this river. You can try to control it, but in the end it will flow the way it needs to. The only choice you have is to learn to move with it." Suffering often arises when we cling to how we think things should be. We tell ourselves that we will only be happy if we achieve a certain goal, if life stays exactly how we want it, if nothing changes. But life doesn't work that way. It never has. The tighter we hold on to our need for control, the harder it becomes to go with the flow of life. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. It means understanding that while we can take action and make choices, we can't force life to follow our script. We do our best, but we release our grip on the outcome. In Buddhism, there's a practice known as Wu Wei, which translates to effortless action or non-doing. It doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means acting in harmony with the natural flow of life, rather than trying to push against the current. We learn to navigate with it instead of resisting the inevitable. When we trust that life will take us where we need to go, anxiety begins to fade. We stop obsessing over what might happen tomorrow, and we start living fully in the present. We accept that there will be times of uncertainty, but we no longer see them as threats. Instead, we see them as natural and necessary parts of our journey. One helpful practice is to reflect on past moments when life didn't go as planned, yet something better emerged. Perhaps a relationship ended and led to deeper self-discovery. Maybe a lost job opened the door to a more meaningful career, or perhaps a failure revealed strengths you didn't know you had. When we let go of the illusion of control, we stop living in fear. We stop trying to manipulate every detail of life, and instead, we trust our ability to face whatever comes our way. This doesn't mean that life will be easy, but it does mean we can find peace even in the midst of uncertainty. Life is not something we control, it's something we learn to live with. When we stop fighting against the natural flow of life, we discover a calm and clarity that we didn't think were possible. Serenity in the unexpected, finding peace in uncertainty. Life is full of surprises. One moment, everything feels steady, and the next it changes in ways we didn't expect. We lose a job, a relationship ends, or an unexpected challenge appears. Uncertainty is a natural part of life, but instead of accepting it, most people resist it. We look for safety, control, and certainty. Yet, the only constant in life is change. Buddhism teaches us that peace doesn't come from removing uncertainty. It comes from learning to live with it. We can't stop life from changing, but we can choose how we react to it. We can find calm, even when nothing feels certain. Imagine being in a small boat, drifting in the middle of the ocean. If you try to control the waves, you'll wear yourself out. But if you learn to move with them, you'll find that you can make it through even the roughest waters. Uncertainty is like the ocean. We can't stop its movement, but we can learn how to sail with it. There's a story in Buddhist tradition about a monk who lived high on a mountain. One day a villager came running to warn him that a huge storm was coming. "You need to leave before it's too late," the villager urged. The monk calmly replied, "If the storm comes, I will welcome it." The villager, confused, insisted, "But you could die." The monk smiled and said, "If I die, I will accept death. If I live, I will accept life. Whatever happens, I will accept it." This doesn't mean we should be careless or ignore ways to protect ourselves. It means releasing the fear of what we can't control. The fear of uncertainty often comes from doubting our ability to face the unknown. But the truth is, we've already made it through every challenge life has given us, and that means we can face whatever comes next. Many times, the unexpected brings opportunities we never would have imagined. Losing a job can lead us toward a new career. The end of a relationship can open the way to deeper self-discovery. A sudden challenge can push us to grow in ways we never thought we could. When life changes our plans, it might be preparing us for something better. One powerful way to find peace in uncertainty is to ask yourself, how many times has something that seemed bad at first turned out to be a blessing? Do I really need to have all the answers right now? Am I missing the present because I'm focused on a future that doesn't even exist yet? Life is always moving. Fighting against that flow only brings suffering. Accepting uncertainty doesn't mean letting go of your dreams. It means trusting that no matter what happens, you will find your way through. Peace doesn't come from having every answer. It comes from learning how to live with the questions. It's not about knowing exactly what tomorrow will bring. It's about trusting that you'll be able to face whatever comes your way. The path to awakening. How every event brings us closer to enlightenment. Life can often feel unpredictable. We go through challenges, losses, and changes we never asked for. Yet each of these experiences carries a lesson. Buddhism teaches that every event, no matter how painful or confusing, is part of our journey toward awakening. Enlightenment isn't a distant goal. It's not something we search for outside ourselves. It's already within us, waiting to be revealed. Every moment in life, especially the hard ones, calls us to wake up and see things as they truly are, without fear and without resistance. Think about the times you've grown the most. They probably weren't the easiest moments. They were the times when life pushed you, tested you, and made you look deeper. That's the path to awakening. Not a sudden revelation, but the slow, steady process of understanding yourself and your place in the world. When we stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this?" everything changes. We shift from feeling like victims to becoming students of life. Every obstacle becomes a teacher. Every setback is an invitation to grow. If life feels heavy right now, if you're facing something you don't understand, trust that it's part of your journey. Nothing is wasted. Nothing happens by accident. Everything that takes place is shaping you into who you're meant to be. Closing thoughts and a warm invitation. Thank you for watching this video. If something here resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts. You can share your experiences or thoughts in the comments. Your insight might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you found this message helpful, feel free to share it with someone who might benefit from it too. Lastly, if you enjoyed this content and want to continue exploring these teachings with us, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. This community is all about supporting each other through life's challenges and growing together. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm excited to keep this journey with you.